Through the Mayhem, the Silently podcast series, bringing marketing industry leaders together to discuss the ever-shifting media landscape. Learn about the ins and outs of real-time marketing, influencers, data privacy, technology, and so much more. All from industry experts with real experience, giving you the real answers. Now, let's break through the mayhem.
Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Breaking Through the Mayhem. I'm Ben Lambert, your host today. Extremely excited to have our guest, Liane Nadeau, to join us today. Anybody in the industry that has ever heard or seen Liane speaks knows what a special guest she is for us to have today. I'm one that anytime I see her speaking, I stop what I'm doing to make sure that I'm paying attention and listening and taking furious notes. She is a true inspiration in the industry. Liane, welcome today.
Thank you. You're so kind. You're going to have to talk to my children.
I'm more than happy to let them know how special they are to have you as their mom. That's for sure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, excited today to get into some various topics. I think to start, would love to have you introduce yourself and explain to our listeners about your new role, although not so new as of today, but newish with your recent promotion. But would love for you to share with everybody your current role, and then kind of a little bit about your history and how you got here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I'm Chief Investment Officer within the media org at Digitas, which is a part of Publicis Group. In that role, my job is to oversee our investment practice nationally across North America, thinking through how we bring inventive solutions to our clients within the media investment world. As an agency, we like to position ourselves as the networked experience agency. So we're thinking about how we can design experiences for people, not just deliver ads to them. So my role is very similar to investment roles at other agencies, but different in the sense that I'm part of an ecosystem that is a full service agency, which unlocks a lot of opportunity in terms of how we can think not just in the silo of media, but truly across an entire experience to allow consumers to engage with a brand in a way that's meaningful. How I got here. So I started my career actually on the media planning side, planning local TV and radio. I moved over to the digital side of the business a couple of years in as I saw kind of the speed with which things were changing and evolving in the digital side of things. So very much linear roots that allowed me to kind of learn the mechanics of media, the fundamentals across things like GRPs and CPMs, and then moved rapidly, as I mentioned, into the digital space and then quickly into the platform buying space. That's what brought me over to Digitas almost 10 years ago to really help grow and scale the programmatic buying practice within the agency. So programmatic then was not a new concept, but the way in which agencies were changing and moving away from traditional trading desk models to agency-led buying and solutions teams. I was able to be at the forefront of that alongside a number of other folks at Digitas. And then from there, have just broadened the number of channels under my remit. So starting to oversee other digital channels like search and social, and now able to represent the full investment ecosystem, both traditional and digital and everything in between across all of Digitas's brands.
Yeah, I don't think your kids are gonna worry about having somebody to look up to with that background.
It's more the stopping and listening part that we struggle with, but they're 4 and 1.5, so we've got a ways to go.
You've got time, and there's plenty that they'll learn to listen to over the years, and I'm sure hearing about the speed and innovation that you're driving to help them learn for the future will definitely be important. But curious, kind of on that note of, you talked about speed and innovation, and obviously you started out on the local linear side, and then now are leading full investment for full service. That's a really cool growth path. That how you're constantly staying up to speed with the trends as our industry is constantly evolving.
Yeah, it's the number one question that kind of keeps me up at night, is how we continue to stay ahead of all of the trends happening in media, but also outside of media, and things that are what I'd like to call media adjacent, as we think about things like organic, social, and influencer and content. I think what I do myself and encourage the team to do is actively participate in partner meetings. Frankly, we learn so much from our partners and the solutions they bring to bear. But really thinking about how we align partner solutions to our clients' business problems. I think at the end of the day, we are a client services organization. And while we are the marketplace facing side of that solution, we really need to be still having a seat at the table to understand where clients and consumers' challenges are, and then partnering with the marketplace to come up with solutions ahead of that. So, in addition to the basics of continuing to read the trades, going to industry events, staying engaged in places like LinkedIn to hear about what's happening, really spending time and truly separating yourself from your desk to think about how do I take a client business challenge and what I'm seeing in terms of innovation in the marketplace, often right now led by AI, but not exclusively AI led, and marry those two things together. I think what we try to do is have a nice balance of, again, spending time heads down on the work, but also giving teams time to really think about how we bring the next solution to the clients.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, as somebody that's sitting on the other side, we love having engaged partners. And I think the Digitas team that you're leading is definitely a great team of always engaged and always wanting to learn and listen. So kudos to you and the leadership team over there for enforcing that and getting people to, think outside the box. And, especially with AI driven and, everybody talks about AI, everybody wants to use it, but not everybody necessarily fully understands it. But so how are you constantly learning about the new AI trends and tips and tricks, and then also passing that information down to your teams?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and one that, we're talking about constantly, as I'm sure everyone is. The way I'd say we've approached AI within Digitas is there's like a tops down, bottoms up approach. And from a tops down perspective, we benefit from so much access to the incredible work that Publicis Group is doing in the AI space. You hear our CEO, Artur Sadoun, talk about the investments, M&A investment as recently as today with our first half earnings report, and what's happening, and how we're getting ahead of that and staying ahead of it and building what's next for clients. So that is, first and foremost, we have access to all of that, which is incredible. On the flip side, we have an incredible solutions team within Digitas and a systems leadership team that has built out, frankly, a sandbox for us to actually be using AI, creating agents of our own and starting to incorporate them into our day-to-day. And truly that's the only way. And partly it's because I'm a learn by do person. But that is truly the only way I've started to learn and truly adopt AI is by using it every single day. And so, you and I were riffing a little bit before this about an agent I'm working on building that's going to help our teams have access to what's available in the marketplace. So, because we've got a closed environment that allows for all of the proper security and privacy protections, we're able to feed and train agents on information like what is available, what are our partners doing, what are the solutions that we're starting to see come in via email, via newsletters, via decks, media kits, as I like to call them, as an old homage to my start and my roots. And we're able to feed those things to agents to be able to then query them and say, hey, we have this client problem. We have this solution. We're trying to build this thing. Where are the places I can go to start to get some of this information? And we've also got another agent that's been recently built that is able to help us synthesize RFPs. So we've got constant, needs to go out and seek what's happening in the marketplace, and the proliferation of partners and solutions is endless. And so for us to be able to RFP a greater swath of partners, ingest that all into an agent, and then be able to query it to help design the plan that is right for a brand's brief is immense. And so because we've been able to build that grassroots, build it within, and really give the keys over to everyone within Digitas, anyone in the organization can and should be making agents that help them in their day-to-day. That's where I've seen the most traction, because the futuristic use cases are incredibly important, but they're futuristic. And so to be able to use it in small bits and pieces today is what I think is really a game changer within the Digitas walls.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I love the media kit terminology. Um, It's always fun when, talking to people that have been in the industry for years and people that are newer to the industry and saying certain, words and phrases, and people look at you like you're crazy, and other people like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I appreciate that one. Outside of using AI, obviously, for, the RFPs and the agents and being able to help with that, which, I'd imagine is got to be a really valuable tool for you today, just knowing how many different partners and vendors and new people come in the space every day. So it's got to make your team more efficient. But, within your personal life, do you use AI outside of that, or is it one of those, I use it so much for work that I stay away from it a little bit in personal use?
Oh no, I love it for personal use. My latest that I've been using it for is, well, two things that I found are incredibly helpful for is meal planning. I hate cooking. I hate grocery shopping. I hate the organization around it. And I find that, I get to the grocery store and I'm just so overwhelmed with choice. I just throw things in and nothing makes sense. And then I can't make anything with it. So I've been feeding, I have, myself, my husband, two kids. I'm looking to make 5 meals this week. I want them to be healthy, but still, and it spits out not only the recipes I should make. Oh, and I like to say, and make it take less than 10 minutes. Because I don't have time. And I also have no desire to cook and spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So it's able to feed back recipes and also then shopping lists. And it's incredible. Like instantaneously, you have this kind of tool at your fingertips. The other thing I've been using it a lot for personally is just in the summer, we tend to travel a lot. So both short trips like Cape Cod, often on weekends, sometimes going up to Maine where you are. But then also we've got a trip coming up to Europe with the kids in August. And just saying, I have this many people, I'm going this number of nights. We have, this type of climate. This is the destination. One, getting tips on what to do, and some itinerary building, but two, packing lists. The amount of things that they pop on that packing list, and I'm like, oh, I never would have thought to bring that. And then, the day before, I'll go back to that same query and say, what are the things people forget the most? And then I'm like, oh, yep, got to get that. So those have been two of my most recent use cases in personal life, but I would say I use it as much in my personal life, if not more, than I even do at work.
That that's
How
awesome,
about
and
you?
that the pack
Any use
well,
cases I should be thinking of?
the packing list one is huge. I recently used it. The most I've used it for, I feel like, is everything golf related, where I'm like, what are some, like, if I'm going to play 3 rounds of golf with friends on a trip, how can we make it so it's not just the same play every time? Or I'm looking to play with a friend who lives an hour and a half away from me. What's a good course in between us? And kind of using it for some of that, and then, like, what are each courses are known for. So I use it a lot for
Mm.
golf stuff, but I also feel like for the trips, especially in the summer, um finding like top restaurants or like the best places to get ice cream, which you and I grew up in very close towns to each other. Crescent Ridge, very well known for its famous ice cream. So, you
Yes.
know, curious if you on your travel how big ice cream is for you on those trips, and how it compares to Crescent Ridge, or where if that was your favorite place growing up.
Yeah, well, first I'll say we're gonna have to go back and edit out the golf bit because my husband is an active, avid golfer and he does not need any help doing it more. So we'll have to edit that piece out. But back to the important ice cream question. Yes, so I did grow up frequenting Crescent Ridge. There was a town over another ice cream place called Bubbling Brook that I will say I favored only because I'm a soft serve fan and Crescent
Okay.
Ridge soft serve. So but yes, definitely ice cream planning is a part of it. We're headed to Portugal actually with the kids in August, and my daughter, who just turned 4, is a huge ice cream fan. So it'll be interesting to see what she thinks of it over there because it's obviously a bit richer than what she's used to here. But and I'm sure that will be a hot topic on our trip is finding the best gelato or ice cream.
Yeah, have to figure out if the AI can help you find the best ice cream in Portugal, and report back.
I think that's a good one for me to query up next.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'll side email your husband with some good golf AI
Please
stuff.
do not.
Awesome. Well, I guess bringing it back to work here for a little bit. As far as, obviously AI being big trend, in the industry, and shifts and changes happening constantly. Is there anything that you feel is being overhyped right now, and not to share any trade secrets of what you guys are pitching to win all the new business lately, but something that you believe is a little overhyped right now, or maybe underhyped, that brands are just now starting to pay attention to, or paying attention too much, that you think is going to be part of the wave of the future here?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say necessarily overhyped, but one of the words that I think I'm hearing a lot of right now is curation. And curation in a lot of different senses. Curation in the sense of PMPs and marketplace curation, or DSPs throttling inventory in a way that they're categorizing as curation. And while I think in concept, it's a very good thing to be selective on the inventory we're choosing. I think the term itself, I talk a lot to our head of precision, Leah, about this, where I think the term itself is just a little bit overhyped, in the sense that it's really what we've all been doing since the dawn of this business, is selecting the right places for brands to show up. And I think it's a way right now for a lot of partners to add incremental fees or try to differentiate and stand out, when in reality, I would say a lot of the work that my team does as an agency is curation. It's selecting the right spaces and places to be. So any way we can automate that, I'm certainly open to. But really, the term curation as something new, it to me is a little bit overhyped. What I would say on the flip side is, still, I believe, underhyped or underutilized is not context, because I think the industry has really aligned themselves behind the idea of context, in combination and in concert with audience. We went for a few years, I think, too hard and fast down the audience only path, and forgot that we need to reach people in certain mindsets and mind states that allow them to be in the moment, to digest a certain message, to be receptive, to even be attentive to that message. So I think context is certainly having its moment, but creative aligned to context, I think, is still underutilized. I think a lot of brands, agencies, partners are talking about it because we know it's the right thing. Is half of the way there is the right audience and the right moment. The other half, if not more than half, is with the right message, that's going to allow them to actually, or interest them in actually paying attention. So I think that there's a lot of talk about it. I don't think a lot of brands have been able to get there, frankly, because what AI is going to do for us and has been doing for us in the creative space is probably the most scary and risky for brands. And so the ability to actually craft in real time or in near real time, craft and design messages and images that'll allow a brand to show up in a really contextually relevant way, is still a little further out. I think less on the technology side. I think the technology is getting there really quickly, but more on brand appetite and concerns around what that could look like. So I think the brands that chase that the fastest are the ones that are going to win. And again, as I mentioned, being at Digitas, we're in a unique perspective to help deliver on that, because for so many accounts, we are both their creative partner, their strategy partner, their media partner, their organic social partner, and we're able to tie that paid, owned, earned experiences together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That was incredible, all of that. I think from the curation standpoint, 100%, it's like a word that, reawoken, from years and years of being dormant, but
Yeah.
it's nothing new.
Right.
Maybe the style of it is slightly new, but overall the concept isn't new, but it's the hot buzzword now.
Mhm.
But I agree. Yeah, I mean, contextual relevance, and making sure you're finding the audience in the right place at the right time is half the battle. The creative aspect is huge, and we've seen brands that can do it, and react quickly to relevant moments and be there. How valuable that is for clients. But most brands we talk to, it's like, this is our dream, but we can't do that. Or and it's even in similar spaces. We know you guys have some great beauty brands, and talking to other beauty brands, that beauty is huge in that moment, those moments. But not all beauty brands can move the same pace, and whether it be the way they're set up or not. And So that curation aspect then plays a huge factor when the
Hmm.
creative can't fully align with the actual content.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, amazing, Leanne. This has been truly exciting for me to get to talk one-on-one with you and hear all of your brilliant ideas, how you're using AI. It's been a true pleasure to hang out with you as always. I will for sure be letting your husband know some cool new golf places and ideas. But thank you again for being an incredible partner and incredible to hear you talk and join the Breaking Through the Mayhem episode.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm Hannah, one of the producers for Sightly's Breaking Through the Mayhem podcast. We want to thank you so much for listening to the show. If you want to learn more about the guests we had on today, we included additional information about them in the show notes. Finally, if you'd like to be on the podcast, or if you know someone that would make a great fit, you could fill out the form at sightly.com/podcast. We hope you have a great day.